everyone, and welcome to A Life of Balance. Today we're going to be making a gingerbread cookie garland. We're making these out of wooden gingerbread cutouts. So we're going to start by painting them gingerbread colored and giving them a little bit of texture. So join Katie while she does the next one. We've already painted the backs, and so now we're going to work on the front, and we're going to give the front some texture. So she's putting a layer of paint on, not super thick, but a little thicker than you normally would paint.
We painted the backs with a regular paintbrush, but we're painting the fronts with the sponge because in a second we're going to add texture, and it's a little bit easier to add the texture with the sponge that you're already painting with, and it also helps coat it a little bit more thicker than a paintbrush would.
Okay, so now that you've got it covered, she's just going to kind of pat it with the sponge brush so that she gets texture. Just to give it a little, dough is not really super flat even when you roll it out. After you bake it, it's got a little texture to it. So she's creating that texture with the sponge. There you go. And so she's going to continue that with the rest of the ones that we're going to use in the set. Okay, now we are using a pearl white metallic folk art paint to do the icing on the tops of the gingerbreads. The caps came from Hobby Lobby. They actually came on a bottle, and I just took them off the bottle and put them on the paint so that it's easy to squeeze it out just like you would icing. Just start by making a border around the candy cane and then stripes on it for this one at least. And just however you want your icing to go, just use the pearlescent to do it.
When I'm getting ready to stop, I slowly let go and keep the string going, so that way you still have your straight line, and then you can just go back over it. That way you don't have any of those little dollops.
Now while my gingerbreads are drying, I'm going to start cutting ribbon, and I've got, I think, 8 different ribbons here, all in various shades of white, cream, and brown that I'm going to use, and I'm going to cut them all in about 8-inch strips. And I don't know, I'll cut probably 8 to 10 strips of each one, and then we're going to tie them on twine. So here we go, just 8-inch strips of ribbon. Okay, I ended up with 8 strips of each one. A couple of them had smaller rolls of ribbon, so we just went with what those would handle. So I ended up with 8 strips at 8 inches each of each kind. Now we're going to start assembling our garland, and I have a piece of twine here about 6 foot long. The first thing I'm going to do is take and wrap it around my fingers here and make a little loop and a knot here in the end, so that I have a loop to attach it with to my mantle or tree or wherever I decide to put this. And I'm just doing a simple knot in the end here to create my loop, and then just tightening it down good. Okay, and then we're just going to start with the first type of ribbon. We're going to take them and we're going to cut them up. We're going to loop them over, lay them on our ribbon here, lay them on our burlap, lay them on top of our burlap here, take our ends underneath the burlap and back up through the little loop we've made, and we now have it tied upon our twine. Okay, you may have noticed I fumbled a little towards the beginning. I was having a lot of trouble, especially with the ribbon ones, because it just didn't seem to be working, even though I practiced beforehand and thought I had it down. But I figured out the system, I figured out the trick, and so I wanted to stop kind of here in the middle and kind of show you the trick before I got too much further. And it's a whole lot easier to see it on the ribbon. You're going underneath the burlap, the twine, and then crossing across the top and back through the loop is what you're doing, which with the lace I wasn't having any trouble, but with the ones that were actually ribbon I was having trouble. And come to find out, the reason I was having trouble is that I was twisting, and that's something you do when you make bows. You twist as you go so that you keep the pretty side, the side with the dots on it, I hope you can see those dots, out, rather than the back side which has no dots on it. So basically we're going to lay it under the twine. We're going to bring our backs back, and we're going to put it so that we can see the back of the ribbons, not the front of the ribbons, which is what I was doing wrong. I was trying to see the front back here. Then we're going to take it over the twine and through, which now we're seeing the front of the ribbon, which is what we want. And then we're going to take that and knot that. Pull that through so it's a knot. But then I'm not fighting near as much with it like I was a little bit ago. So give me a second, I'll show you that with this other piece of ribbon, which makes it pretty obvious too. And the lace, it's hard to see that. I know that it is, because the lace is basically the same front and back. It doesn't matter. I wasn't paying any attention. I was just doing it. And then when I got to the ribbon, again, wasn't paying much attention. Was kind of just doing it, but I was having all kinds of trouble because I was coming out wrong and I couldn't get them to knot. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And that's what was happening. I was twisting. So I'm going to take it and lay it underneath here, and I'm going to put so that I can see the back sides. I'm going to see if I can hold that up. See, you can see the back. You can see the white down the middle, whereas the front is the tan down the middle. So I can see the back sides. And I have my loop underneath my twine. And then I'm going to cross over the twine and underneath the loop and pull it out. And I'm holding onto my twine with my other hand here, so I keep it away and keep it straight. But now I just got to just pull it down tight, and it'll make a knot. It's not necessarily easy to pull it down tight, but it's not hard. You just got to finesse a little bit. Pull it down tight and it makes a knot. This ribbon's kind of stiff. And there you go. So that's what I was doing wrong, and now you know what you need to do correctly. So we'll just keep tying little knots here until we get to the end of our ribbon. And once you get it done, again, you're going to just kind of wrap it around your hand a little bit and around your fingers and tie a knot. And I'm going to trim that off a little more before I even try to tie the knot. Tie your knot. And adjust that knot however much you need to make sure you get it tight. And you can trim off a little, but I don't like to trim off too much because I want to make sure I leave a little bit so it doesn't pull itself out. Okay, so there we've got the prep work for the background of our garland done. And now I have 6 gingerbreads that I'm going to put on my garland. So I'm going to just kind of see how long my garland is for starters. That's 2 foot. Came out a little shorter than I thought it was going to come out. Mine's about 3 foot long. So I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm just going to use a little binder clip to mark my midway point. And I'm using a binder clip because that's what I have handy. Whatever you have handy works. So there's my midway point. And then I'm going to fold it in half here. Because I'm not going to fold it in half there. Because I'm then going to space. Yeah, I'm going to fold it in half here. Because I'm going to bring on each side. Fold it in half again. And put another clip on it. On this side. And on this side. And that'll kind of help me spread them out without having to lay it all the way out, because I don't have enough space to lay it quite all the way out here. So that kind of helps me do that. So then now, as soon as they're not quite dry yet, doesn't look like. Nope, not quite dry. Do not touch. So we're going to let them dry some more, and then we'll come back and show you final assembly. Okay, so our ornaments are dry, and so I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to actually kind of lay them out here, how I want to put them on my garland. Let's see what we got here. Most of them were dry. A little bit of fixing here. That section isn't quite dry. Okay, so I kind of got them laid out the way I want to do them, and I'm not going to touch that one right now. And so I'm just going to take and cut just a few inches of string here, of twine, and I'm just going to thread it through the hole. I probably actually cut way too much there. And put it underneath around my original twine here, and just tie a knot in it, and trim my ends off. And that's all there is to it. And there we go, a nice faux gingerbread garland to hang on the mantle or the tree or wherever else you might want to hang it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Now's a good time for you to go out and click the subscribe button below and ring the bell so that you will get a notification every time we add a new video, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.